I'm going to be quite itchy in this area, just so
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for a very special live stream, a reunion of sorts, with my good friends Kish, the Spurs fan, and Usman, the Man United fan. For uncomfortable conversation. We spent many years on Usman's channel back in the day, rival fan chat, and we used to banter this man for the lack of trophies. Look at him. Look at him. My gosh. And for the time for us to finally have this reunion, Spurs have just won a trophy and Man United were the ones to flop. So listen, Kish, guys, great to see you. Obviously, Kish is going to have his time to shine. And then, Usman, you've got a lot to answer for, my friend. Trust me on that.
Long show indeed.
Look at this. Kishi, I can see your
I think you should start. I think it's only right you start.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's probably the greatest final I've ever seen. I think the quality from both sides, it was just back and forth. It was tremendous. I mean, it was one of those where you just could not take your eye off it because of the quality. No, joking aside, it was the worst final I've ever seen. I'm not even lying as a diehard fan. You could really see that it was 16th versus 17th in the league. It was one of those where, to be honest, a lot of fans were saying to me before the game that it's going to be typical 4-3, 3-2, that kind of thing. But I knew it was going to be that sort of game because both teams would be fearful of each other in terms of making any mistakes and even to try and make any kind of adjustments. And that's exactly what happened. And even the goal that we scored, I mean, it was just comic. I mean, you knew that if there was a goal, it was either going to penalties or it was going to be a goal like that was going to go in, and it was going to be one of the two goalkeepers that was going to make a mistake. Vicario tried his hardest.
Vicario.
Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Get everything go. Yeah. So my guy just turned up, and do you know what? I love that guy. I knew when you signed him, he would come good, and do you know what? Credit when credit's due. That is what you call a world-class goalkeeper for the opposition, but world-class. So 17 years of pain, heartache, and do you know what? I want to say it right now. Do you know what, Arsenal fans? I know you guys don't know what it's like to win a European trophy. I know West Ham fans do, and Tottenham certainly do. So yeah, next year when you want to go on tour for that second place saloon, you let us know, and we'll show you what it's like to win a real European trophy. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there.
Jesus Christ,
man. Usman, why? We was relying on you. The football world counted on Manchester United, and you let us down, man. Look, and you know what? The thing is, we're in a group chat together. The amount of times I've seen Usman dunk on Spurs, right, and banter Kish all over the years for being the team that they are. And look what you do, Usman. What have you got to say for yourself?
Right, I'm just gonna start with setting the scene firstly. Right, myself and Kish have been friends for 15 years, 1-5. So just for obviously you probably already done the math already. So that means since we've been friends, he's never won a trophy. Like our entire friendship, 15 years long, he's not won a trophy. But I think what was that in a bloody? I was probably doing my GCSEs. Yes, I'm old, but I don't even know. Honestly, like I'm kind of still speechless to be honest. I just think it's a bit of a disgrace. As Lola said, the football world was depending on Manchester United. I just want to say one thing: welcome to our world. Welcome to the shit show that is Manchester United. A lot of rivals have been saying, you know, this team's not as bad as it should be. This team should be X, Y, and Z. You know what? At an absolute push, the team maybe should be 10th or one achievement 10th, maybe 8th. I don't even know, but I personally think these players are absolutely pathetic. Yes, we're going to get into the manager. I'm sure you've got plenty of questions regarding that. But yeah, just to set the scene, this is the first time Kish has won a trophy since I've known him. So we went out. This wasn't even the plan this show, but I thought, no, I got to let Kish have his moment because I've been rattling him for 15 years. So it was only right he finally gets one day in the sun because obviously Spurs would be Spurs again next
You
year.
know, we've won as many European trophies in the last 15 years as you have. Just saying, innit?
I mean, I don't. I know. I'll be honest with you. That doesn't really.
Oh, it's got itchy back. You know what I mean?
It doesn't rattle me at all. The reason being is because I'm not an Arsenal fan. So
Really itchy, man. Honestly, I don't know what's going on.
That's not really gonna rattle me. I'm not gonna lie because I'm not an Arsenal fan. Because obviously, you know, they just I also got the record for that the most days without winning the UCL. So like, John, we're never gonna be.
No, it's all right. They're gonna do the victory parade at the.
You going?
For winning at the Bernabeu? Yeah, they're doing a victory parade for winning at the Bernabeu.
Yeah,
Arsenal fans. I'm gonna turn up for that.
I mean, look, Arsenal fans are sorry.
Parades.
You know, we're sorry that, you know, Tottenham's manager actually keeps his promises and wins in the second year, and Arteta doesn't actually win when he actually says it. So I apologise on behalf of Arteta, but Man United, you can't rely on us for anything. We're absolutely pathetic. We're 17th for a reason. So, yeah.
You know what's even more pathetic, Usman, right? Is talking of Onana.
Oh, Lord.
We just saw Henderson have a world-class performance in the final to help Crystal Palace win a trophy. This is the guy that you got rid of to bring in Onana. Wow.
Bro, don't even get me, bro. I'd get you banned if I said the stuff that I want to say about Onana. But honest to God, I've never known a goalkeeper, right, that's allergic to saving shots. Like, what's his problem? Like, obviously, I know a lot of people are saying it's Shaw's fault. I mean, you could say it's Shaw's fault, but it's hit him. Yeah, the only mistake he's really made is not got to the ball. It was just a fluke goal from that perspective. What is or is. But from Onana's perspective, bro, De Gea saves that with his feet, let alone his hands. Like, what is he do? I've watched it back about a million times, and I still can't fathom the fact that he hadn't got to it. But in general, forget the goal, right? Before the goal has even happened, what is he doing? It's a final. The guy's played a Champions League final, so he's not like he's like, and he was brilliant in that Champions League final, by the way. But he's acting like he's a new kid on the block. He's got no experience and he's rattled when nothing's even happened. Like, Spurs have not had a shot. They've just put in standard crosses into the box and he's just fluffing his lines under no pressure. We're like, what, bro? It's just, oh my God, what is his problem? Like, what are you doing? Oh, he's not. It's just Onana's fault.
Do you know what? Yeah, I've got a few. I mean, first and foremost, I think Luke Shaw is still looking forward to that barbecue because that was promised. Yeah, I think he's looking forward to that. No, he had a chat with Ratcliffe during the medal ceremony. Saying, is it still going ahead? Yeah, the barbecue on the weekend, so that's happening. Because it looked like that's why he was playing, because he was holding some excessive timber during that game because he didn't put even 10% of a shift in. But no, I think with United, do you know what? I'm going to cut a bit of slack in terms of for the players in a sense of.
Don't.
So but hear me out. When you signed Onana, he got the goalkeeper, best goalkeeper in Europe because he was in the Champions League winning. He was in the Champions League team of the season. He played at an Inter Milan team that got to the final, and he was heavily important throughout that campaign. There's been various examples which you can account for where there've been players at the top of their game go to United for one reason or another, whether it's the dynamic, whether it's the way that they're onboarded or something is happening. Because Sancho, before you bought him, was one of the most sought-after players in Europe. At Dortmund, he'd absolutely smashed it, albeit, you know, people talk about Bundesliga tax, you know, that kind of example. Varane, okay, there was injuries and he had performances, but again, he'd won 4 Champions Leagues. Casemiro had one good season and passed it, whatever you want to call it, but you still signed him at 28, so there was still time. There's been various examples where you have signed on paper top-class players that have been far from top class. So that has to go back to the dynamic of what is the situation. And there's various players have said it. Alexis Sanchez, Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic, players have said that going to United, it's like an anticlimax. It's like literally seeing a 10 out of 10, and then she takes her makeup off and you're thinking, what the hell's gone on here? Like, who's this 2 out of 10? Yeah, literally, Anthony are balling out, and there has to be something within the core of the club that is just nasty work. It's just nasty work. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, firstly, I agree, but secondly, I've been saying it for ages. Man United is a graveyard for talent. I mean, anyone a bit of talent, you're not going to succeed at Man United unless you're cut from a different cloth. I will say Varane was a success in my personal opinion. I feel like a lot of United fans would agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, his last game was a man of the match performance against Man City in the FA Cup final. He was unbelievable. I mean, I know he didn't get awarded it, but he was top class. He's been top class for United, bar the injuries. Casemiro, for me, he's had a brilliant season. He wasn't good last season. This season, he's finished really well. Like, I think he's been back to his best. Obviously, I can't really fault him for yesterday's loss. I don't think he was to blame for anything really that happened in that game. Nothing really happened, to be honest, as we mentioned already. But in general, I can't blame Casemiro. But everyone else you mentioned, I'd agree with. The pressure's too much. I said this on the chat as well. You know, you can play for real betters like Anthony. Again, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's been fantastic on his loan. But you can play for real betters and have a poor game, and no one will obviously bat an eyelid. But if that's not Man United, it's literally plastered everywhere on social media. It's like you got about 50 think pieces in the media. You can't have a bad game at United. It's like literally like, even if you drop a 6.5 out of 10, that's classed as you're a flop. You've done this, you've done that. And the pressure is just too much, man. It's ridiculous. Like, even me as a fan, like the amount, like, let's just say Dogo, we've just signed him. I don't know if I can't remember if it was in January. No, it wasn't.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've just signed him. I swear to God, everyone's saying he's awful, he's this, that, and the other. Like, he's literally 18 or 19. People have already written the guy off. And to be honest, I don't think he's that good either. But
I thought he had a good game yesterday. I thought he wasn't too bad.
A couple of times he got rigged, I think.
You have 2 bad games. It doesn't matter about your age. You're basically washed. And in the age of social media, like, these players obviously see what people are saying about them, and whether they say it or not. But it's the pressure. There's the shirt. It's like Real Madrid as well. Obviously it's different because they've actually got top quality players. But like, they booed Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, I'm saying, like, Real Madrid and United, man, the pressure is just stupid. Like, and a lot of our players, they can't deal with it. But on top of that, because obviously we're awful as well, it's a combination of everything. If we were good and there was pressure, it might be a bit different. But we're absolutely horrific as well. So we're losing that week in, week out. So it doesn't really help the situation. But
there's a name missing that we need to talk about. And we talk about both managers here. But let's start with the war criminal that is Ruben Amorim. Because I blame him massively for that. And I think we need to criticize Ruben Amorim and apologize to Jose Mourinho. Yeah. Football heritage. Yeah, that's what he told you. He tried to warn you. Your best post-Fergie manager. And the way you lot treated him was a disgrace. And now, look, you're here where you are. And Ruben Amorim, who was seen as the saviour,
I don't think
that was a bad performance from him.
You know what? Let me just quickly come into this, because I still, like, I mean, I've got my say on my manager, and I will do, but just to quickly implement on this. In that final, you've watched Tottenham under Ange, right, for 2 years. That was the most un-Ange-like performance I have seen throughout his tenure. We use it, not once did.
Why did he put on the bus against us?
I know, but what I'm saying, yeah. So what I'm saying is, not once did the goalkeeper pass it short. He kicked it long every time. I've never ever seen that from an Ange team. We usually play a high press, possession-based football on the counter, and it's fluent to watch. He completely ditched that playbook, which again probably surprised Amorim. So what I'm trying to say is, Ange himself realised that there's certain games and certain situations where you need to adapt, right? So I give him credit where there is. But with Amorim, throughout his tenure so far, I understand, look, he hasn't got the players to play the system. But what he does have a responsibility of is, okay, I don't have this team to play the formation I want to play. So what a good manager does, in my opinion, is like, okay, I'll adapt to the situation for this season because we're not getting results, we're not playing well. Paul Jewell has a better win percentage than me, who's at Derby, right? So I need to get results because this team was not meant for 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call it. So let's get results this season. And then when I get a proper transfer window and get my fullbacks, because he got Dorgu, he'll get others, I'm sure he will, that's where we can change it. But instead, he's basically said, I'm going to die on this hill. And that, for me, is pure arrogance. And I think that is one that if he doesn't change that quickly, and say if it gets to, I'm not saying for him to get sacked, but say if by December, you're say 10th or 12th or around that, and he's been given 150, 200 to spend, which I think he will do, then I think serious questions need to be asked.
Yeah, look, first things first, right? Let's just address the elephant in the room. Amorim is, he's obviously blameless. Like, not blameless. Sorry, he's made a lot of mistakes. There's no denying that. I mean, for me personally, I'm gonna say something that might surprise you, but I actually love the fact that he's dying on this hill because and it kind of contradicts everything I've said in the previous years. But I'll explain why I'm loving it. The first reason is this. I'm actually sick to death with these players. I'm actually so done with these players. And I understand what everyone's saying. No, don't get me wrong. Adapting as a manager is your bread and butter, essentially. That's what makes you a top quality manager. However, these players played under a 4-2-3 under Ten Hag for a long period of time. We all watched Manchester United under Ten Hag. We were absolutely horrific. Yes, we were getting results here and there. Yes, we won trophies. Fair enough. You've got to put respect on his name. He's won trophies. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to discredit that. He's won trophies and he hadn't won for a long time before him, so fair play to him. However, we were absolutely awful under Ten Hag in terms of the football, week in, week out. The revisionism from rival fans and fans in general is crazy. Everybody was saying we're awful under Ten Hag. And we were playing a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. We played those formation with these players, and they were absolutely shit. Like, the players were awful. Last season, we scammed the FA Cup. Absolutely buzzing by that. Fair play to Ten Hag. I scammed it. We were awful in the entire league. We were finished 8th. I can't even remember where we finished. I think it was 8th. But point being is, we were awful in the 4-3-3 before Amorim came. We were awful in the 4-2-3-1 before he came. So for me, the formation situation, I completely get the point. But it's not going to make a difference. The players are not good enough. I understand you have to adapt to the players here and there, but we've had so many managers adapting to these players and they've been shit. And I'm sick to death of the players getting their way. I'd rather he dies on the hill and the board be like, okay, we need to buy XYZ to suit the system. And then we just go and hopefully improve over the years, because I'm tired, because Ten Hag basically gave up his principles to play the way these players can play, and I got us absolutely nowhere in 3 years after spending 600 million. So we've seen a manager.
He's got you 2 trophies, though, Usman, and this is the thing. I agree with you're saying to a degree, because look, that's what he said. He's going to come in. He's going to play his way. He wants to play his way because that's how he's going to play going forward, and the players have to adapt to him. All of this stuff. That's all well and good, but in a final, right? There's a lot riding on it. I just said this. There was a lot riding on this final. Your financial situation isn't great. To get Champions League football, not just the trophy, the Champions League football that comes with it, that is a time to abandon your principles and play like Ange did and play to win.
Of course. That's what I was going to go on to. I was going to say, but the final, he bottled it, basically. The final for me is on Amorim, 110%. The players are obviously responsible because they were lacking quality. We've all watched the game. That was one of the worst quality games of football. Spurs didn't try to do anything. They gave us all the ball. So I'm not going to criticize Spurs too much. They just had to win the game in the second half. They did what they had to do. Fair play to them. But from a Manchester United perspective, there was zero quality in that pitch. It didn't look like we were going to score up until the last 10 minutes. But that's when he threw the kitchen sink. For me, he messed up. This entire second half is a shambles. I mean, the first half, I wouldn't have started Mount personally, but that doesn't matter really now. But it was the fact that he didn't react. I don't know why he didn't go to a fallback. I've said this. I was saying it during the game. When there's 30 minutes on the clock, it's quite apparent that Spurs are not coming out their half. They literally said, have the ball, break us down. And like Kisha said, Spurs don't normally do that, so maybe he caught him off guard. But you have to go for at the back in that scenario. We needed another attacker on the pitch. He's got Kobe Mainu on the bench who's just scored a 90-minute goal to get us in this position. And it was an unbelievable goal as well. The composure of a young lad to score that top quality goal. He's shown in the key moments. He steps up. He scored a goal against City in the final. He scored key goals against Liverpool to knock them out. Scored a key goal against Wolves in the 90th minute. The guy's done it and he subs him on the 91st minute. It was beggars belief. So the second half, if he gets sacked, he has himself to blame. So I'm not sitting here and saying he shouldn't get sacked for X, Y, and Z, because he's only got himself to blame. The second half was an embarrassment. He has so many options. Even throw Eriksen on. He's got a bit about him quality-wise. He might create a chance. He didn't even use Eriksen. He threw Dalot on for 5 minutes and he was our best attacker, arguably. I'm not really a big fan of Dalot, but he put 2 good crosses in. And the only 2 good crosses in the game came from Dalot, who played 5 minutes. And Spurs were flipping rattled. Kiss must be shitting himself in the last 7 minutes. We looked like we were going to score. And if he did that 20 minutes prior, we definitely would have scored. We'd probably have a different conversation. So for me, that's what made Fergie a great manager, or even Jose, that we use Jose as an example. They always take off a defender in the last 25, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and they put on an extra attacker. He didn't do it, and it cost us a game. It's as simple as that. You know, we lost because of him. So
he deserves to be sacked. He deserves to be sacked. But you know who don't deserve to be sacked?
No.
And
let Kish start, because he's been saying that regardless of what happens, he should get sacked. Now you've got the euphoria of actually winning the trophy. Do you still agree with your opinion?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, it's our first trophy in 17 years. No, hear me out. It's our first trophy in 17 years. But similar to the Eric Ten Hag situation, that doesn't stop us from the fact that we have lost 22 games, 22 league games this year. This is our worst league season in 30 years. You can't ignore things like that. And to say everything that he focused on the Europa, whatever, that's fine, but you don't get to spend 150 million this summer and the same last summer, so that's 300 to 400 million over 2 seasons to end 16th or 17th of the league. That is not a pass. Now, the way I see it is this is now a very pivotal moment for Spurs, in my opinion, right? Because we're in the Champions League. It's our first trophy in 17 years. We now have players that have won a trophy, so they have that experience. This is now an opportunity to attract a manager, in my opinion, who has the same ethos and philosophy of that winner, that big time manager that I'm looking for. And with the winners mentality that we've not had in 17 years, I think this is a huge moment for Spurs to either stick or twist, because you can't become baffled in it, because we know what's going to happen, right? We're not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to attract the very best in terms of players, because that's just Daniel Levy and that's what we do. But in terms of this moment in time and who we can attract as a manager, I think it's critical. That's just my opinion.
But the thing is, though, Kish, right? The mad thing is, if you would have finished like 6th this season, 7th, around there, and won no trophy, there wouldn't be the calls to sack Ange like there is. If you won nothing, this is, you finished, you might finish 17th or 16th. Depending, I think Raj asked who's going to finish 17th out of us three. I think we're in a good position.
I've got a better question for Raj. Who's had a better season out of Arsenal and Tottenham? That'd be a good question, Raj. Because we're both in the Champions League. We're both in the Champions League, but we've won a trophy. So
Well. But if you're saying that case, then why do you want him sacked? Because that's kind of
exactly. So if you finish 16th and 17th, it's
no. But I would no. But with Arteta, I'd say the same for Arsenal. I think Arteta doesn't.
Why
do
you want him sacked if he's had a better season than Arsenal in your eyes?
Huh?
If he's had
I'm just comparing to Arsenal. But if he's
had a better season than Arsenal, then why do you want him sacked? That doesn't make sense.
Because we're still 17th in the league.
Right, okay. I'm just going to say my point, right? Because I understand where you're coming from, because obviously it's a Ten Hag situation.
But let me just say one point. Lawless, I remember a specific West Ham fan when David Moyes won the Europa Conference, that he's had a great time, he'll be a legend. Let's shake hands on it and let's upgrade. Now this is the time. You said something. No. You always against David Moyes style of play. You hated David Moyes' style of play. You said you were either he was one-dimensional, where it was literally counter, sit back, hold a lead. When you won that trophy, you literally said, he's great for what he's done. He's a legend, but now let's shake hands and let's go. You did the exact same thing.
I did say though, he deserves to keep his job. I said, for me, right at that time, I think, I would be happy if he went out on that high. But I said at the same time, he deserves to keep his job, and if he stays, I will back him.
What a noble statement.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So I weren't like,
that is such horseshit. That is such horseshit.
True.
It's because of what happened afterwards, because you ended up with a manager that was so ridiculously stupid because it was a similar philosophy to Moyes. That's where you went wrong. But if you'd had, say, Say a Deserby at that point. You don't like. I don't know if you like him or not or whatever. But let's just say there was a Deserby at that point in time or someone, or even a Iraola. Let's just say that as an example. There's no way on planet Earth you'd be like, yeah, it's fine. He's won a European trophies. We don't need anyone like these. I want to stick with Moyes. Moyes in.
But you're
There's
assuming
no
you can
way.
get Iraola. Like so many Spurs fans are just assumed that they can get Iraola.
Well, now it'd be really easy to. Let's be honest. Now it would be.
They've got Champions League, to be fair.
Yeah, it'd be really easy to. But that's like, yeah, that's.
After seeing how you treat your most successful manager in 44 years, I don't know. He may have second thoughts. He's like, wow, this is.
Nah, these
like,
managers don't care, man. Look at Amorim, man. He thought he'll change Man United's fortune, man. They always believe in themselves. But listen, I'm just gonna say this right. I wanted Ten Hag gone as well for the exact same reason you just alluded to. However, I'm gonna just caveat this, right? And I mean, it's gonna sound disrespectful, but that's not what I'm trying to do. But you're not Man United. Now, I know you've just beaten us. Fair enough. Have your day, whatever. But the situation of Man United and Spurs is not the same. I know we only went. I think we had a draw. Well, actually, he won a trophy the season before when we sacked him. Sorry, but the point I'm trying to make is, you haven't won a trophy in 17 years. He has been absolutely awful. There's no getting away from that. However, he's been plagued with injuries. Let's be honest. Like, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but it is the truth. Like, Man City without Rodri, absolute shambles. Liverpool without Van Dijk, absolute shambles. Arsenal, well, they just make excuses for whatever reasons. But with you guys, and Kish, you've got to be honest here. You guys have had the most injuries. Like your back line, I swear to God, you've had DMs play centre back so many games. And look, again, I understand. I get it. I'm in the same boat. The only difference is you've got a trophy, so you're better than me. But what I'm saying is I understand the pain from the season. It's been well, actually, Lawless as well. But all three was understand how horrific it's been. But
he had Kulusevski, Madison, and Bergvall missing and still won the final.
Yeah, exactly.
But hear me out, though. Hear me out there. That doesn't stop the fact that during the beginning of the season, when we had a full squad, we lost to Ipswich at home. We gave them their first win of the season. Yeah, we lost to Crystal Palace when in the first 8 games they hadn't won a single game. So we literally were 3-point collector, and then we did the unthinkable, which is to lose at home to Leicester City when literally they were on a 9-game losing streak. Yeah? Okay. So you can't tell me.
No, but let's bring it back to Lawless's point then, because I think that's an absolute brilliant point he's made. So let's say Ange's finished 6th, right, and not won a trophy. You'd probably be content with that because you don't think you're going to be above City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. So them 4 are automatically above you in everyone's realistic eyes. Let's be honest. And then the only other team would be Newcastle. Like you can't begrudge us.
But the thing is, though, man, why can't a fan have? Why can't you say, right? Say even if it was top 10 this season, right? Say if we came 10th, yeah, right, and we won the Europa, then do you know what? I understand that, but to completely disregard the league and just be like, do you know what? We're happy to get battered no matter who we play. It's completely fine. But this is my
okay. But you won a European trophy.
But what I'm saying, a 12-game competition is not a bread and butter compared to a 38-game season.
Oh, we know.
Do you know what I mean?
We know that, but what I'm saying is, right.
It's not that I'm not grateful. Don't get me wrong. He deserves his flowers for sure, 100%. Albeit, don't get me wrong, this was the first season in the Europa League where none of the Champions League drop-offs were there, right? So that was a big help to us. And let's be honest, we couldn't on paper have had an easier opponent in the final, no disrespect, to play because we'd beaten you 3 times already this season. The only thing that would have cost us is that final experience which Man United have. That was the only thing that would have cost us because if we both played to our best, say even if we played at our top and you did, we would have battered you, in my opinion, based on the season. So it would have only been the nerves that would have cost us, and it nearly did at the end. But
I get it. This was the easiest Europa League and all of that, yada yada. However, Kish, we have seen Spurs bottle competitions.
Against Europa Conference. I remember.
Even the great Poch. So he beat what was in front of him when other managers couldn't.
Bro, you won the final because of Angelo. Let's just keep it a buck, right? I understand what you're saying about the season. The season's been awful, and you're well within your right to want him sacked. I get it. I'm in the same boat with it. I was in the same boat tonight. I get it, but he won the final, right? And it's your first trophy in 17 years. It's got you. It's not like it's a Carabao Cup. It's got you Champions League. So essentially, you've got top 5 in my head. In my head, I don't care what anyone says, right? The season you've had, I would 100% take that over Arsenal season. I don't care what any Arsenal fan says, right? And I don't care what, obviously, my United can't say shit, but like, I don't care what any Chelsea fan says. If Chelsea end up in the Europa League, right, if they bottle it against Nottingham Forest, and they end up in 5th or 6th or whatever it may be, 6th, sorry, you've had a better season than them because you've won a trophy and you've got Champions League. Arsenal fans can say what they want. They can go and take those Odegaard photos about winning those games in the season. Obviously, 20 losses is a disgrace. There's no denying that. Yeah. But let's just keep it real. You only remember the times when you win a trophy, and that trophy gets you Champions League.
The problem is I'd understand, yeah. I'd understand if that was, say, you said that to me for this season. But it's not been just a season. Since that Chelsea game of last season, where, if you remember, we were top of the league, Van der Ven's hamstring when Romero got injured and the wheels came off. It was 9 men, if you remember, and he played that high line. He said, "That's who we are, mate." Idiot. Since then, so you're talking pretty much 50 games altogether. Since then, we on the Opta are 16th. Only the bottom 4 teams have won more games, as won more games than us. So I'm not just basing this on one season, Usman. If it was, because people are saying on the chat, right, I can see it here, he came 5th last season, and this season he's won a trophy. Don't forget, last season we were in the top 4 up until like March, and then we absolutely bottled it because we went on a losing streak like no other, right? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is I'm basing this over an 18-month trajectory. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I'm not just basing this on the season. I'm basing it on a year and a half.
I understand what your point is, right? But what I'm thinking from and out again, I'm obviously can't like. I'm a bit hypocritical because obviously said the opposite with Ten Hag, but the reason that it's different is because we were a bit more familiar to winning trophies at that point. But that being said, 17 years without a trophy. What you said is true. Like, if you get sacked, then okay, fair enough. He's gone out. He's gone out with one of the coldest quotes in football history, by the way. Got absolutely.
He deserves to stay just for that. Just for that.
Honest to God, unbelievable. But for me, if I'm a Spurs fan, right, I'm fuming with the season. But after that win, I'm thinking, no, F it. Just we haven't won a trophy in a long time. Give him some money. Give him to Christmas, and then just. I don't. Look, for me, I just think it's ridiculous. He should at least get into the season. Like, he probably will fail.
Don't get me wrong. Look, if it's someone like a Thomas Frank or a Marco Silva, yeah, then I would keep Ange because the proofs. It's in the proof. But I'm talking about dream scenarios. So you're gonna laugh when I say it, but Inzaghi into Milan, his contract runs out at the end of the season. Hear me out. No, hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. I know you. Look, I get it. Number 1, we're in the Champions League. Number 2, we've just won a trophy. Number 3, the Premier League is the most sought-after job for most, if not all, managers in Europe. It is the Premier League. How many times have you seen it where top managers from other clubs in other European countries have gone to Premier League teams just because they want a Premier League job? So what I'm saying is the foundation is there, but again, this is dreamland. So what I'm trying to say is if someone like that came, even say someone like Xavi, who was at Barcelona last year, the year before, if someone like that came up, then for me, I would seriously be like, Xavi's there. Xavi's there. Allegri's there. Okay. People like that, managers like that. But if it was Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, that type, then no. Then I'd be like, Ange. I'm just saying if these opportunities came. So a few years ago, before we got Ange, before Conte, we had a really good chance to get Nagelsmann, but we didn't pay the money for his backroom staff. If that kind of ilk of a manager comes up again with the foundation we now have, we would be ridiculously naive if we were like, do you know what? No, we're not going to go for that sort of manager. We're going to stick with Ange. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but then again, if they bottled it last time by not paying for backroom staff, can you trust them again? You go behind Ange's back, or you sack Ange to try and get this manager. You fail and end up with a lesser manager and you're starting everything.
But there's no way managers get sacked unless there's a replacement lined up. Eric Ten Hag, it was very clear that they literally looked to about 5 candidates and all 5 of them were ready. Amorim didn't want to come that season and it kept changing and changing and changing. That's why they kept Eric Ten Hag. So I can see Tottenham doing a similar thing, if I'm honest, where I can see in the back, because Paratici now is back. So at the end of this summer, he's now back and he's on a 2-year contract. So I can see with his connections in the Italian league, with him vouching a few managers' names of like, would you be interested X, Y, Z, and seeing what happens. And if they say no, then yes, for sure. But it's just, I know it's a different club, but that Ten Hag thing just really worries me because he was given 200 million to spend, Eric Ten Hag, all to get sacked in December. And everyone knew that he just wasn't. He should have gone. Everyone knew. Every fan knew, including Tottenham. Every fan knew Eric Ten Hag should have gone. Right?
They're not lawyers. He was saying should have kept him.
I promise you, right? If you sack Ten Hag earlier in the season, replace him with Amorim, you get relegated. You're lucky that you kept on to Ten Hag as long as you did.
Lucky. Have you seen the players he's fucking signed, mate? Don't get me started on that.
No, but I'm just saying. Say you sacked him in like November, right?
If
you sack him in
Amorim
September, you're in trouble.
Season, and he had a preseason and a transfer window, we wouldn't be in this mess. We might be 10th, but we wouldn't.
No, I'm saying if Amorim comes in September or something.
If Amorim comes in, yeah, September maybe. Yeah, true. I don't know.
Yeah. Then you could
see next season the vibes in it, and if he gets us relegated, but yeah, regarding the manager that you mentioned, obviously Inzaghi, I'd agree with you then. If you got someone of that ilk, then yeah, you have to tell Ange to pack his bag because these kind of managers only once in a lifetime. But I'm trying to be realistic here, and to be honest, you've had Conte and Jose, so that I would be surprised if Inzaghi goes, but you have had Conte, and he's a top quality manager at the time, and obviously you've had Jose. I know he was a bit towards the end of his career, but he's high status, so it wouldn't be past the realms of possibility. If you went and got Areola or someone like that, then I think it's a bit laughable, to be honest, because although he has done a fantastic job at Bournemouth, and he could translate that here, it could just be a Potter 2.0, and you've just got rid of your managers. That's one.
He's kind of bottled Europe, to be honest. Like Bournemouth,
they have bottled it. So this is what I'm saying. Like managers like Areola, they get away with murder, and I'm not trying to discredit it because he's done a good job for the resources he's got. But if you actually go through Bournemouth's last 10 games, they've completely crumbled. They've won like 2 out of the ones in Man United, so that doesn't even count. But they've won like 2 out of 10 games. Like honestly, they've fully bottled it. And there's no pressure on him. This is what I'm saying. That if that happened at any other club, you would not get away with that. So yeah look. I understand if you got Inzaghi. Obviously.
Yeah, I think the problem with this final was big for both clubs for 2 key factors really. For us, it was important because we've not won a trophy for 17 years, so it meant more to the fans.
Back. Sorry, someone's asked about Poch.
Do you know what? I would 100% take Poch back. I
what?
would. This is he's obviously in my lifetime, including Redknapp, AVB, Martignol, Wandy Ramos, Ange, Pochettino, etc., Conte. I would 100% take Poch back. The only thing he created that squad from nothing. He literally coached these players and improved them to next level. It was just but hear me out. Sometimes, right, in competitions, it does take a bit of potluck. It really does sometimes. Because hear me out. Champions League final against Liverpool. Yeah, on paper they were the better team. And let's be honest, if you were a betting man, you'd say Liverpool, right?
Yeah, but you didn't even put up a fight. It was effective.
Hear me out. I know, but hear me out. FA Cup semi-final, Chelsea and Man United. Both occasions, they on paper were the better teams. Would you agree?
I mean,
you would. No, you would agree. You would agree. The other final we got to, unfortunately, Mourinho got sacked, so that wasn't even. I mean, that was on Levy. He didn't even give him a chance.
Right,
so this was the first final in my lifetime that I have seen. Even when we won the League Cup against Chelsea in 2008, we were the underdogs because they had the likes of Didier Drogba, Gallas, etc., Carvalho, Terry at the back. Yeah, so even then we were underdogs. This is the first final in my living memory where I'm at a final and I felt so much pressure more than anything else, because I was like, we should win this. Like, we actually should beat this Man United team. So that is the key difference I am saying. I'm not saying that if Pochettino was manager, he would have also won. But what I'm trying to say is bring things into perspective, that this was the first time in a major final where we genuinely were the favourite team. So, I'm not saying that it's not a credit, but we were genuinely the favourite team.
That's fair enough. I'm not going to sit you.
The bookies don't get it wrong. At the start of the Europa League, the bookies have stayed consistent and said Tottenham were the top of the tree to win it. And the bookies don't usually get it wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only team I was scared of in the competition was you, like, to be honest, because I think we'd be everyone else, and obviously we literally slapped
No, I mean, Bilbao for me was a fear, but you absolutely battered them, which I was surprised with. I was
Leon as well.
Europe before.
Yeah. So I mean, with regards to that, I think this is more like significant in terms of the financial side for United, because Tottenham, I don't see you signing the very best, because let's be honest, someone like Cunha would be perfect for Tottenham, because Maddison's injury prone. Kulusevski can then go back on the left, which is where he needs to play, because that side needs help, right? So he would be perfect to play in that position. But Man United, with no European football, are still able to attract that sort of player. Tottenham won't do that. Tottenham will go back to the Championship market, Italian League market, and sign the likes of Udogie, Archie Gray, these kind of players, to kind of bring them up, and hopefully they turn into, like, they blossom into top class players. We will never sign ready-made players. Whereas for United at the moment, this is huge, because not getting Champions League football is a massive loss in terms of attracting the very best. And now on top of that, probably losing out on 150 million, because the way the group stages work in the Champions League, that's a minimum of 5 home games. And that's if you just get to the playoffs. And if you get there, you are talking upwards of 150 million. But what I'm saying is, if the likes of Celtic can get into the playoffs, 24 teams out of the 36, that's a lot, right? Yeah. That's a lot of money, and the attraction. I know it's still Man United and whatnot, but I think that is huge. Because even like Gyökeres, right? I guarantee you, if you had won this Europa League, it would have been a week away. I think you would have agreed that deal within a week or two, because you've got Champions League football for him, Manchester United, best league in the world, a manager that he's played under. I think he would have said, "Yep, I'm coming to United." Whereas now he's going like, "I'm coming to Spurs, definitely." No,
I want to just quickly add to that, man. Like, I genuinely think for in the immediate future, for the next years to come, Man United are finished as a top club. And because honestly, and I'm not even back, when you look at it, like, how much was riding on that? You've got Jim Radcliffe, pleading poverty. You know what I mean? Not giving tickets to staff members,
that guy's a fraud, man.
Laying people off, right? He's come out to Gary Neville and said basically how broke you are. Amorim said, like, financially how important this final was. Yeah. Now you're about to finish 16th, 17th, no European football. You are in such a state with the players you've had. You would probably look at that team, that squad, and you probably pick a handful of players that you could see a team that you would want to continue with, and you'd want to get rid of most of them, right? And then there's doubts over Amorim. Amorim has to succeed, otherwise, you have to rip it up and start again. If you sack him, you have to pay him off. I don't see a way out for Man United anytime soon. I think this is your reality. I think your ceiling is going to be like 7th would be a really good season for you for the next foreseeable future. I think it's looking bleak, mate.
The only way I see for them is, obviously, if they sell the likes of Garnacho and Rashford, say that combined brings them 100 million, then, because that's pure profit. But then again, the way financial fair play works is, say like Anthony, who's had a good season, say if Betis make a 40 million bid, which I'm sure United would accept, that would still on the balance sheet be classed as a 50 million loss, because that's how FFP works and that's how PSR works, because it's the value. So that would be a minus. So say that 100 million combined for Rashford and Garnacho comes up with the minus of 50, it works out at 50. So they are severely in trouble. Like, I mean, I don't know how they're going to. I mean, because it's not like how it used to be under Abramovich and City in the early days, where you can just put more money. There's no PSR. You can do literally whatever the hell you want.
City and Chelsea still can do whatever they want, apparently, but it doesn't apply.
Sell some hotels,
I mean, unless you buy your women's team for 250 million, so you might have to do that. And that might work.
The rules don't apply.
Are you genuinely concerned, Usman, about the future, and think this could be it?
No, look, this was make or break for Manchester United. Like, the way I see it is we should have got relegated this season. That's the way I see it, if I'm honest. I was just saying to my mates, this is the worst possible season that we could possibly have. I mean, not only are we essentially, we should have been relegated 100%. The only reason we haven't got relegated is because of the 3 teams below us are horrific. On top of that, Liverpool have won the league. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Liverpool have won the league. We're 17th. Like, it doesn't get any worse. We've just bottled the Europa League final. I know, obviously, from like a friendship perspective, I'm happy for Kish, obviously. But if I actually watch that game back, obviously I won't. But if I actually look at that game and analyze it, that team on paper is awful. Like, it's generally got no quality in there. Bruno's aging. He dropped a stinker, but that's beside the point. He's actually been good under Amorim.
Would you take Jamie Vardy next season? On a free?
No,
No, serious question. You signed the likes of Cavani. You signed the likes of Cavani 36 plus. You signed, I know it's different, Ronaldo at 38. You signed the likes of...
He's obviously not. Obviously not, bro. You know, that David's there on a free from Lille, bro. If we're going to take someone on a free, I'll take him. But
no, but what I'm saying is you're someone for a year.
Danny Ings on a free. Danny Ings is available.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that is where I draw the line, I'll be honest.
Come on. Hoyland, please, I beg. He's absolutely ass. But
wait, Danny Ings or Hoyland?
Whatever, man. But anyways, look, the point I'm making...
serious about Jamie Vardy, by the way. I'm actually serious.
Let me
Sorry.
The point I'm making is, look, I was speaking to a couple of my mates, right? I actually think in the long term, this is probably going to be the best thing that's happened to United. In the next 3 years, this is going to be hell for us, basically. But I'm talking 4 or 5, 6 years later down the line, because we're in such of a mess financially. We have to rip you up and start again, because there's literally no other way for us to take any steps forward, because we have to sell Rashford, we have to sell Garnacho, we have to potentially sell Bruno, we have to sell all these players that would not get sold otherwise. And I'm not saying it's because of Rashford or Garnacho we're not done well, because obviously it's bigger than just 1 or 2 players. But the culture, we just need a reset, basically. We need a literal reset, and that means a lot of these players need to go, and we need to get a fresh batch of players. Under Amorim, under new manager, I don't really care about the manager situation at the moment, but I'm talking from the players' perspective. We've got 25 players in that squad, or wherever it is, and maybe 5 or 6 of them are worthy of a squad spot, not a starting spot. I'm talking a squad spot. The rest of them need to go, and for me, the Europa League would have papered over a ridiculous crack, like unbelievably. Like, obviously, I want us to win it. I'm not sitting here saying I'm happy, because obviously that would be a lie. But what I'm saying is, maybe in 5 years' time, we look back at this moment and say this was the turning point at United, because the board are under unbelievable pressure. This is Ineos's. Let's just put this into context. This is Ineos's first ever season as Manchester United owners, and it's the worst in our history. Financially, on the pitch, off the pitch, in every aspect, it's been an absolute car crash, and they have to fix it. So for me, in the near future, the next 3 years, like you said, we're finished as a club without a shadow of a doubt. The next 3 years are going to essentially dictate Manchester United Football Club for the next 2 decades, at least, depending on how we sort out the wage structure, how we sort out the squad situation, and how we sort out the manager situation. Like, basically, it's make or break. Like, honestly, we could get relegated. Like, I'm not even...
Do you know what? I've just thinking about it. Like, it's almost an argument for you to keep Amorim, is that every time you sack a manager, you seem to get worse. Like, from Jose to Oli, you know what I mean, to Ten Hag, to Amorim. I think like you seem to get worse every time you sack one.
I don't think we should sack him. I've said that. I know that's not a popular opinion within the United fan base. I'm probably in the minority after that final. Look, you guys know me better than anybody. I'm always a manager out. Like, I'm always on the manager's neck. But for me, like, yes, he's been at fault. I'd say about 30% of the fault is his. And I think the other 70 is the board and the players, like a combination of the two. I can't think off the top of my head.
If he stays, big pressure to hit the ground running next season.
There's always pressure, though. It's like, let's say we get rid of him, right? Let's say we sack him tomorrow, yeah, and then bring in Xavi, for example, because I know he's available. Let's say we sack him and bring in Xavi. Bro, Xavi's not getting a tune out of this team, bro. He needs players that can play a certain style of football, and these guys can't pass more than 3 times without losing it.
But then you go back to the whole get him these players, give him next season. But then we're going to go back to the
oh, these players don't fit his system, his style of play. They can't pass out from the back, just kick it long. Except bro, I've been through this cycle 1-2. The cycle doesn't stop, man. Honestly, like we get a new manager, these players can't play tiki-taka football. You think that squad that you just watched yesterday can play Xavi ball? Not in his first season, anyways. The season's a write-off if we get a new manager, anyways. Especially if it's someone like Xavi that still like has a proper philosophy. That he's not gonna get a tune out of this team. They're not good enough. Like they're just awful players. Like they're honestly horrific. Hoyland, Jesus Christ, that guy is.
Do you know what? He looked promising when you first got him.
Bro,
he comes with a lot of hype.
I beg, take him at West Ham. I beg, take him.
No, but listen, you've Man United. Do you know what? Actually, I would actually be so open to taking any Man United player because what happens is they go to Man United, they get shit, and they leave. Like look at Rashford at Villa. Look at Anthony. Look at McTominay. Yeah, we can go so many examples. You're the problem. You're the problem.
I agree with that rhetoric that we're the problem. I've always stood by that. We are a massive problem. But coming back to my point, start from the beginning, like as in like literally ground zero, rip it all up, start again. We have only got one game a week. It's going to be stupidly depressing for the next couple of seasons. But I'm hoping in the long run it pays dividends because we've actually done it the way we should do as a club. Sort the wage structure out because that's an absolute shambles. Sort that actual recruitment out and actually build a team. Like PSG are a great example of a team that's basically gone through a transition very quickly. They've just lost Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, and they look 10 times better. Obviously, we don't have a remotely close quality to what they have, so it's easy for them to transition. But the point I'm making is we need to make a team, man. We've just had individual players doing individual things. Like Garnacho only cares about his GA. Don't give a shit about anything else. Like, honestly, like, again, I'm picking on two players here, but point being, I've seen these players in multiple systems, multiple managers flop, and I'm tired of seeing the same cycle. So hopefully,
I don't think there's as much pressure on Ineos or Jim as you say. Because let's be real, man. If it goes wrong, if you blame them and it goes wrong, what's going to happen? You're going to get your Norwich scarves out, right? You're going to go down to Old Trafford. You're going to sing your songs. We want Ineos out. We want Ineos out. And nothing's going to change, like it didn't change with the Glazers. Bro, that's it. That's the reality.
That is reality. We're finished basically for the next 3 years. We're basically written off. Like as a club, we just got to stay in the league. But in my head, like just don't get relegated.
If you got relegated, man,
that would be the maddest thing ever.
If we get relegated, don't message me, don't call me.
That would be honestly, I think that would be the ultimate downfall, like in history. In my opinion, that would be humongous. That's literally like saying Real Madrid getting relegated in La Liga. That is it is insane. It is insane.
But when you should be relegated for losing to Spurs in the cup final automatically.
But when Leeds got relegated, they had a very good team as well. So it can't.
But that's Leeds. Yeah, this is United. 22 time, 20-time champions or what you want to call it?
20 league titles.
Yeah, that is like.
Look, I don't know. The next couple of seasons are going to be dark. I mean, this season was horrific. So,
do you know what it is? I just think it's from United to the core. It's just I mean, even former players, they don't help with the negativity that they put in interviews. Like people like Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, like Neville. I think they just need to learn to shut up. And I don't know what it is with Amorim, right? That guy's literally twerking on a press conference every day. I've never known a manager to do that many press conferences. Bloody hell. How is he doing? He is literally 9 to 5 on interviews.
He even done an Arteta and give it the "we were the better team" bollocks.
Yeah, like, I've never seen anything like it. It's like, bloody hell, man.
Look, Amorim lost his head yesterday, and I can understand why. Because that second half, he was at a dismay. But he had a howler off on the pitch, as in tactically, he had a howler off the pitch. And his post-match press conference, that's the first time he rattled. Like we should have won that game. I know, obviously, I'm not trying to discredit what Spurs did because at the end of the day, finals are there for winning. Do what you got to do. I would 100% do the same as what Islanders did. But from a United perspective, we literally gave you the trophy. You didn't do anything to deserve it. We scored our own goal. and we didn't even fucking threaten your goal. And you literally did.
I think it was officially given to Johnson from what I saw. Like the goal was.
Yeah, it was own goal. He put down his own goal, but I hope they gave it.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that was like the only thing Onan had to do in the entire game, from what I can recall. You might have had to make a save. I don't.
The only thing we had in that second half was when Solanke had a really horrific touch. That was the only one. But apart from that, I have never seen us play like that.
I've never seen any team. And again, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying like I've never seen a team.
But that's how poor you are. The fact that we gave you all of the ball and you literally did nothing.
You literally didn't even want to go past the halfway line for 45 minutes. And we gave us all the ball and we created about 3 chances in the 10.
Yeah. And then the one chance you had was from our goalkeeper's mistake. It was because he didn't catch it.
And we only created those chances because your players were obviously stressed. Like, they were under pressure. They were getting nervous, tired legs. Except we didn't do it by pure quality. It was just by pure luck. That was those chances.
Oh, that Luke Shaw, honestly, that Luke Shaw say, oh, my heart, my God. My heart was pounding. I was literally thinking, he really wants that barbecue, man. I was like, oh, my God.
If that's Casemiro, Maguire's the goal.
I was so glad it wasn't Maguire, because that guy always scores them.
In the corner, man. He should score, but it's because it's Shaw. He's not.
Luckily he headed it at the perfect spot for a keeper, and I was like, he has to save this. But bloody hell, my heart.
I thought he scored, man.
And then when he was like the last kick and it was a corner, I was like, I can't. Oh my God! I was like, after
Man United would have gone on to win that game.
Yeah, 100%. Our players would have been crying on the pitch.
We would have won that 100%. We would have won that 100%.
But you didn't. You let everyone down. No, I know. I'm just saying, but that's the reality. And listen,
what he said about winning his trophies, and that has to be the coldest line any manager has ever said. Like, it has to be. It has to be. Mourinho saying, I think I'm the special one. It has to be up there. Like, to say it in September, by the way.
I think Andrews is colder. The reason I think it's colder is because he's the amount of times people have brought it up in press conferences and they've like done it to belittle him and like condescending tone, and he's got pissed off and rattled about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he even went back on his word at one point in the season.
Well, even in that interview the day before, Alex Crook from TalkSport, he was like, so after tomorrow night, you're either going to be a hero or a clown. And he was like, what do you mean? I think that those sort of things are really, really bad to say, I think, to be honest, to manager. You can't call it. Yeah, that's very unprofessional. So he took a lot of abuse.
So disrespectful, man. But I'll say this, right? Look, obviously, I'm Man United fan. I'm gutted, obviously. But from a Spurs perspective, I'm happy for you, obviously. I'm super happy for Ange, because if he goes out like this, he does seem like a genuinely nice guy. Like, and I'm happy for Son as well. We haven't even mentioned him. But
world class.
Whatever.
It wasn't yesterday. Let's be honest, Kish. He was actually.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. To be fair, he only just came back from injury last weekend. That was his first game. But
he's past his best.
He is. He deserves a statue. If anyone deserves a statue, it's him for sure.
Son really deserves that trophy. Like, if anyone it's him, because that guy has been so stupidly loyal. And I was just watching Kane win that trophy, which was absolute cringe. You could tell he's never won one. But the scene
Kane should have stayed at Spurs.
Him and Eric Dyer.
Yeah. Imagine how much more special it would have been for Kane if he'd won that trophy with Spurs.
That's why for me, that Son deserves that, because obviously from that perspective, I wasn't looking at that, but you got to respect him, man. That loyalty, blind loyalty, man. He had no reason to stay out. And he said,
at his prime, he could have literally played for any
he could have played for anyone. Man City, easily, bro. He could easy. Like, he cooks them all the time, apart from that time.
It's nice. It's nice to be a European champion. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's super. If you somehow shit out the Super Cup against Inter Milan or PSG,
oh my God. Kish, if we win, I don't want to hear jack shit from you.
If they shit out that Super Cup,
honestly, if we somehow shit out that, okay, all right, hear me out. If he wins that Super Cup, all right, he can have what he wants. Honestly, no, but do you know what? I feel like we're gonna get absolutely battered. Like we're gonna get. No, it does. If we lose, like say 7-1 or something, that is gonna be so bad.
You've got to get some signings in before it happens. It's 14th of August, yeah. So transfer window, you got plenty of time.
Yeah. If it's Inter Milan, I can see a shady like 2-0 loss, yeah. But if it's my god,
I was about to say,
oh my god, if it's PSG and you beat PSG after they knocked out Arsenal.
Yeah,
they knocked out Arsenal in the Champions League, and then you beat PSG in the Super Cup.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's finished. It's
right.
done,
Listen,
man.
I need to go in the next couple of minutes, but can we just finish the show just talking about how shit Arsenal are? But obviously, I've been like, listen, can we just talk about Arteta? We've been talking about my manager. Obviously, we're in the mud.
How is he not getting any pressure? By the way, like,
why is he still there?
I don't.
Why is he still there,
You know, for every reason you said about Pochettino at Tottenham, he's literally got the same thing.
He's a fraud, bro. Like, I'm sorry, Arsenal. That win yesterday, right? For you lot, that is a disgrace for Arsenal. I'm sorry, all this process bullshit, but bro, nobody cares about second. You only care about winning trophies. Lawless, when you won the cup, the conference, and obviously when Declan Rice and whatnot lifting trophies, obviously it was an emotional day for you guys. You don't give a shit about the league position, bro. All you care is about. Look at Crystal Palace. They're in 12th. Like, I guarantee they couldn't get. Obviously, it's different for them teams because they've not won ever. But the point I'm making is football's about winning trophies, bro. Especially when you're in a situation like Arsenal, when they've actually got a good team on paper. I'm sorry, if you're not winning trophies when your team's ready in their scenario that they are to win trophies, you should get sacked. He's won nothing in 5 years.
He's had so many. Andrew's won a trophy in like 2 years. Glasner, I know. League
2 years as well for Glasner. 2 years for Glasner as well.
Yeah, 2 years. Like all these managers.
I'm Eddie Howe.
Ten Hag. Even I know you don't like him. Like, it's taken him so long to do anything. This process, the phases. Shout out to Igal, who had the whole dossier on what the phases were.
And do you know what the baddest thing is for them? This season, he actually played his full-strength team in every cup competition. Because even in the League Cup, when they lost to Newcastle in the semis, he was grafting. That FA Cup against United, he literally had his full-strength team.
Sacked for losing to that team with 10.
Yeah.
We beat them with 10. We took him to fucking penalties, right? We had a red card on the 40th minute. It wasn't even like, it's the last 5 minutes. We held on from the 40th minute. And took him to
and your second choice keeper, who really gives competition to Onana for being a bum, completely outperformed Raya as well.
Bro, come on, man. I'm sorry, but like Arsenal fans, obviously Man United fans are in the mud. I don't care if you finish second. You're in the mud with us. I don't give a shit. You ain't won nothing. You've won nothing, and Spurs have won that as well. And on top of that, they're in Champions League. They've won a trophy before you. Oh God, like
honestly, I mean, do you know what? In general, it's been a great season for the neutrals as well because
no, it hasn't.
No, hear me out. Newcastle win their first trophy in 70 years. Yeah, Crystal Palace have won their first trophy ever, right? Mm-hmm. And we've won our first trophy in 17 years. Like, that is in terms of a neutral aspect, unless you support United, etc.
Liverpool have won their first league in 35 years as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been the season of like the unexpected, essentially.
The season of the
that is pain for you though. You lose to Spurs though, right? In a final, finish 16th, 17th, and Liverpool win the league. Liverpool win the league that same season. Yeah, it must be hell to be a Man United fan. Right?
I'm telling you right now. It does. The only thing that can get lower than this is if we got relegated. This is literally hell. The only thing that changes is relegation. That's it. We can't get.
I'm just going to finish it on one sentence, and it's from your heroes, man.
Oh, fuck's sake.
The old Sir Alex Ferguson said one thing about Spurs.
Oh, I know what this is going to be.
It's only Spurs, mate, and that. Good night.
Oh well, yep. We'll end it there. We're on that note. Shout out to Kish. Happy for you as much as I hate that Spurs won a trophy. And this man.
And do you know what the maddest thing is? I know, Lawless, you're hating it because the amount of debates me and you have had and like confrontations on Usman's old podcast about West Ham against Tottenham. Oh my God! You both. I know you're smiling right now, but they're tears. I can feel the anger.
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
it.
West Ham, Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans, bro, they're in hell with us in these last couple of days, anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what would top it? Yeah, if Betis beat Chelsea as well. Oh my God,
Oh,
that would be so good.
Oh, fuck it.
Honestly.
please.
But
If
That would
Anthony,
that would give
if
you
Anthony
something.
scores, yeah, and they beat Chelsea, oh my God,
I need it.
that,
I need
that would be
I
the
can't stand it,
greatest
man.
thing.
Get him out, man. Get him out.
Apparently
Hopefully Forest do that as well, man.
staying. Apparently it's been confirmed. And just staying.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
On that note, I need to go because the football.
All right, listen.
Right.
Thank you to Uzbek. Thank you to Kish. Good to catch up with you guys again. Miss you
Likewise,
guys.
boys.
Make
Thank
sure you
you
drop
for
a like and
watching.
subscribe to Lotus's channel as well.
Yeah, he's got some great content, and stay tuned
What a
for I'm
legend.
sure what he's going to install.
West Ham are
We'll see you
massive.
soon. Everywhere we go. Let's go.
Love to